So in October 2015, I was raped, and I went to court to prosecute, to go against my rapist. The trial was really awful, and I had like very little support from the justice system and from anybody else really, and he got a not guilty verdict.
I got a not guilty verdict, which I will never ever be able to come to terms with. So in terms of the justice system, bitterly disappointed.
As horrible as it sounds, it would be naive of me to think that I would get a positive, thing out of going back to court. Like, what's the point? What's the point of dragging myself through a system that is pitted against survivors, pitted to pick apart someone's story of their trauma and make them relive it only to tell them that they're lying?
I went into the courtroom with the advice of the police and saying that this was one of the strongest cases they'd ever had, and that they were virtually 100% certain they would get a guilty verdict. And I went into the justice system actually believing that. I had a friend with me to support me, but it didn't seem to help me at all because I was really anxious about going into the courtroom, and the whole environment overwhelmed me completely.
I mean, at the time, like the actual time where I went to court, I didn't really have anyone helping me through it. Like, I had friends that kind of knew about it and messaged me a couple of days after, like, how'd it go? But no one was like, I will come with you, I will pick you up. No one really seemed to appreciate how traumatic it was. And friends that I had, I'm sure they weren't trying to be like, not caring, but no one seemed to really understand what a toll it was taking. I just felt like I had no support whatsoever. Like, my parents didn't come, they didn't want to come, like, no one seemed to really offer me any real support, and the court wasn't offering me any support, so I guess I had no idea how I was going to do it, and all you can do in that moment is like breathe through it.
I just basically ended up having a breakdown. I wasn't eating, I wasn't sleeping, I just couldn't go through. I was doing an art degree at the time, and I thought, I'm not gonna let this person take something away from me, something else. So I decided that it just wasn't good for my mental health at the time to go through with it.
The waiting room is a public area where there's quite a lot of different cases going on at the same time, and there's TV screens all around, and there's a tannoy system, and the tannoy system keeps you informed of your case, and there are guards there as well, security guards, to make sure that there's no real problem between the defendant and the accused. You know, there are people crying in there, there's people upset, there's people coming out angry, some people are waiting to go back in, so there's different things happening while you're in the waiting area, so it's not a very nice experience.
And that, it felt like a doctor's waiting room. It was still like really bare and just like pictures on the walls and stuff, but like quite just like clinical. But I was actually in the special waiting room, because there's two waiting rooms. There's one for like normal, like non-violent crimes or non-like traumatic crimes, where you and like loads of people are there just waiting like a normal dentist's office. And then the one that I was in was like specific for people who had like traumatic crimes.
My experience, weirdly, was quite a positive one with the police. I gave them my story, and then a medical examiner was called, which actually, that was the hardest part I found of reporting it, was, you've already just been violated by someone that you don't know, and then you have to go through this process of someone else probing you in quite an intimate way. And that's why it always annoys me where people think that, people make up accusations like it's easy. Like, to go through a medical exam is not an easy thing.
Oh, at first I went to go and view my video that I'd made, my like testimony video. So I was allowed to watch it before I went into the witness room to like remind myself of exactly what I'd said.
Participate in any sexual activity?
Definitely not. I think I joked about how disgusting I am on multiple occasions, because I usually do. So like,
in the courtroom itself, I was in a little witness stand. There was like the defence lawyers, and there were his parents there, and then he was behind like a glass wall at the end, and the jury was here. So I was like here, the jury was here, the people were there, and then he was behind there.
On entering the courtroom, the pressure escalates in how you feel. You feel every raw emotion, and you're very tightly packed in a very small area. The actual witness area is a very small area, and you look across from the witness area and you can see quite clearly the person who's in the dock who's accused.
And I could have opted to have like a red curtain, so I wouldn't be able to see him. Knowing that like he was literally right there was really terrifying, and I just like couldn't get the guts up to look that way.
You know, we were yards apart, and I felt really almost raging anger that I wanted to go over and say something prior to going into the courtroom, but I'd been advised that I can prejudice the court case by, you know, incorrect behaviour, so I felt that I had to really be well behaved, which I did. I was impeccably behaved, but I felt really angry waiting.
They got me to step out of the witness box and stand so everyone could see my whole body, and they made me point out how short the t-shirt that I was wearing on that night was, and they were like arguing that they were saying, no, it was shorter than that, actually, I'm sure it was shorter than that, and making me point to where it was. And that's just, why does that need to happen to anyone who's gone through such a traumatic crime? Why does that need to happen? That shouldn't be the way the justice system handles like vulnerable people.
I do feel as if the system's let me down. The evidence was so overwhelming that for it not to be the verdict that you wanted is something that I'm not ever going to be able to recover from. Your hearing suddenly becomes acute, and you hear every single thing that the judge says. You hear every word. You hear every word of the prosecuting barrister. You're listening on every single word because you know what the truth is, and you're waiting for that truth to come out explicitly.
My rapist had told the court that he was at a wedding, a family wedding, so he was allowed to postpone the trial for a month. So he told them he was at a family wedding, but he was really on holiday with like the main witness in my case. The thing that really helped me like get through it was keeping a sense of anger, knowing that you were unjustly treated and knowing that the court has fucked you over as it fucks over all survivors.
There's nobody to turn to. If I didn't have my friends with me, I would have been very much on my own, and there was no liaison person to say, oh, I can see you look very upset, can we take you to a room and help you? There didn't seem to be any support at all within the court environment for the people that were witnessing the events. And there are times during the week where I was desperate for some support other than my friends, and just to be somewhere, but the police were getting on with their job, the prosecution were getting on with their job, the defence were getting on your job, and the person that was listening was just basically left to defend, you know, get on with their own thing. So there was very little support for the parent.
Not retreating back into yourself, I think, is how you survive, because if you keep it all inside, it will eat you alive. Like it will kill you.
It will take me a long time to move on. It really will. It'll take me a long time to move on, because they deserve justice, and they didn't get justice, but they told the truth.
They literally like grill you on these tiny little details, and they make you feel like you've misremembered things, and they're kind of trying to force you into admitting something happened that didn't. The whole thing needs to be changed. And the way that the lawyers are allowed to make you question everything that you've experienced.
Well, I think in life in general you have to move on, because you have to accept what was the decision, and you have to come to terms with either a good or bad decision, and the only way you move on from it is to know in your mind the truth.
And also after the trial I got not guilty verdict, and that was it. There was no follow-up, there's nothing. I was meant to get my underwear, my t-shirt, my bed sheets back that I'd given in for the forensics, but I never got that back. That was never followed through. I just really felt like, okay, not guilty, you're dropped now. There wasn't any resolution anywhere.